So we will read 34 to the end of the chapter. And I think we'll focus on one of them in there. I'll have to find it. But so I think we read it back and forth with the microphones. Yes, we have the 34. Once upon a time, when Brahma was thinking of how to create the worlds, as in the past millennium, the four Vedas, which contain all varieties of knowledge, became manifested from his four mouths. The what? Didn't I do Om Namo Bhagavate? Yeah, I did. That's okay. You're sick. That's okay. So once upon a time, here's another story on the details of the creation. He was thinking, he was contemplating, because he was given quite a big job to do. Create, here's the ingredients. Now creation. So just, and again, how does Brahma even start this process? He starts this process by Krishna coming to him and giving him the intelligence to do so. And so that intelligence also for Brahma also included the four Vedas manifesting. So these manifestations, you could say Brahma was the creator, but really all these actions are under Krishna's control. Brahma himself is a creation of Krishna. So he was thinking like, how do I do this? But then the four Vedas became manifest in his four mouths. 35. Someone read.
The four kinds of paraphernalia for conducting the fire sacrifice became manifest. The performer, the chanter, the offerer, the fire, and the action performed in terms of the supplementary Vedas. Also the four principles of religiosity, truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, and the duties of the four social orders all became
Vidura
manifest.
said, O great sage, whose only wealth is penance, kindly explain to me how and with whose help Brahma established the Vedic knowledge which emanated from his mouth.
Vidura said, beginning from the front face of Brahma, gradually the four Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sam, and Atharva, became manifest. Thereafter, Vedic hymns, which had not been pronounced before Christian rituals, the subject matters of the recitation and transcendental activities were all established, one after another.
He also created the medical science, military art, musical art, and architectural science, all from the Vedas. They all emanated one after another, beginning from the front face.
Then he created the fifth Veda, Puranas, and the histories from all his realms, since he could see all the past, present, and future.
All the different varieties of fire sacrifices, Shodashi, Ukta, Urushi, Agnishtama, Aptoyama, Atirata, Vajapaya, and Gosava, became manifested from the eastern mouth of Brahma.
Education, charity, penance, and truth are said to be the four legs of religion. And to learn this, there are four orders of life with different classifications of castes according to vocation. Brahma created all these in systematic order.
Then the thread ceremony for the twice born was inaugurated, as were the rules to be followed for at least 1 year after acceptance of the Vedas, rules for observing complete abstinence from sex life, vocations in terms of Vedic injunctions, various professional duties in household life, and the method of maintaining a livelihood without anyone's cooperation by picking up rejected grains.
The four divisions of retired life are the Vaikanasas, Balakila, Balakilya, Adumbara, and Mapas.
enough.
Traditions of the renounced order of life are Utichakas, Bhavadas, Hamsas, and Nishkiyas.
Right.
All these were manifested by Brahma.
The science of logical argument, analytic goals of life, and also law and order, moral codes, and the celebrated hymns, Booth, Bubah, and Swa, all became manifested from the mouth of Brahma. And the Pranava Omkara was manifested from his heart.
Thereafter, the art of literary expression, Ushnik, was generated from the hairs on the body of the almighty Prajapati. The principal Vedic hymn, Gayatri, was generated from the skin, Trishtuk from the flesh, Anushtuk from the veins, and Jagati from the bones of the Lord of the living entities.
The art of writing verse, Pankti, became manifest from the bone marrow, and that of Brihati, another type of verse, was generated from the life breath of the Lord of the living entities.
Brahma's soul was manifested as as the touch. Brahma's soul was manifested as the touch alphabet, the body as the vowel, the scissors as the sibilant alphabet, its strength as the immediate alphabet, and essential activities as the 7 notes of music.
Brahma is the personal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the source of transcendental sound and is therefore above the conception of manifested and unmanifested. Brahma is the complete form of the absolute truth and is invested with multifarious energies.
Thereafter, Brahma accepted another body in which sex life was not forbidden, and thus he engaged himself in the matter of further creation.
O son of the current, when Brahma saw that in spite of the presence of sages of great potency, there is no sufficient increase in population, he seriously began to consider how the population should increase the goods.
Brahma thought to himself, alas, it is wonderful that in spite of my being scattered all over, there is still insufficient population throughout the universe. There is no other cause for this misfortune but destiny.
While he was thus absorbed in contemplation and was observing the supernatural power, 2 other forms were generated from his body. They are still celebrated as the body of Brahma.
The 2 newly separated bodies united together in a sexual relationship.
Out of them, the one who had the male form became known as the Manu, named Swayambhur, and the woman became known as Satarupa, the queen of the great soul, Manu.
Thereafter, by sex indulgence, they gradually increased generations of population, one after another.
O son of Bharata, in due course of time, he, Manu, begot in Satrarupa 5 children, 2 sons, Priyavrata and Utanapada, and 3 daughters, Akunti, Peruti, and Prashuti.
The father, Manu, handed over his first daughter, Akuti, to the sage Rishi, the middle daughter, Devahuti, to the sage Kardama, and the youngest, Prasuti, to Daksha. From them, all the world filled with population.
Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 3rd canto, 12th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Creation of the Kumars and Others. So quite a lot of information, as I think the last few chapters have been providing you. Lots of information on creation. And if I were to ask you what was the 3rd order of the sannyas, you probably wouldn't remember that it was Hamsa, but so we face this part of the Bhagavatam as a challenge. It could be quite a challenge for us to know, well, what is certainly it's in the Bhagavatam. This is knowledge. This is essential for those who want to achieve a higher understanding of Krishna. But these things will be revealed to us naturally, just as Brahma, as once upon a time, these were revealed to Brahma. They became very clear in his mind. He knew, okay, I need to create this. I need to create this section. I need to create these syllables. I need to create these orders. I need to create even things that we would think are distracting. So many things. And when it comes down to it, when we look at material nature, there's a purpose there. Could say, even Brahma, I think yesterday's class, you heard some struggle of Brahma. Yes, you heard some struggle. So he had some struggle. So even Brahma, who you could say is the manipulator of the material energy, was not free of the material energy. That anything in matter is inherently not going to provide a smooth either life or smooth platform of existence. It's not going to be smooth. It's inherently going to be rocky and disturbing, and some things I like, some things I don't like. Some things are transcendental to it that I can see, and most things I see are not transcendental. So when we approach, and again, we're studying such a large quantity of information at once because we're trying to make a more of an overview understanding of the Bhagavatam for our students here. But certainly each one of these verses can be tried. We have Prabhupada's purports to help us go a little deeper and try to understand these effects of matter. So why is it, so I'll ask a question, why is it that the matter is so difficult and not smooth for Brahma and of course for me? Why is matter not just made to be hunky-dory? Yes.
Help us identify who we are.
Yeah. And who are we? And not part of the matter. It makes it very clear that, I don't like this. This is not smooth. This is not right. This is not inherent to me. Because we also have inherent qualities. As the matter has inherent qualities of always being turbulent and troublesome, our inherent nature is to serve, enjoy, Satchidananda. We are meant to, our inherent nature is to be a servant of Krishna. That is our inherent nature. And we've completely forgotten about it. So why would Vidura, you would think that he's pretty intelligent, he would know, why does he want to know so much about creation? Because he wants to know what is in front of me that is going to take me away from that inherent nature of mine. So we study these things sometimes ad nauseum to like, why this? I want to hear this pastime, or I want to hear something extraordinary. But we're hearing very detailed things about creation, their influences, and not only the matter, but then there's the modes, and then there's all of these. Then every living entity is experiencing that same package of things differently. And so when we have many billions and trillions and unlimited amount of living entities experiencing it differently, we collide, and we also experience troubles in those ways. Also not a smooth activity. But when you take all those things away, and we're in our inherent nature of servant, then there can be unlimited servants, and there is no collisions. It's all in unification, all unified to that ultimate goal of serving Krishna. So don't be sorry that you can't recall everything we just read in 20 verses. Some of them are completely outside of our even ability to understand at this point. Perhaps continued reading Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seva, by repeatedly and repeatedly coming in contact, Krishna will give us the intelligence. He'll help us to understand him. And understanding him is not just understanding his supreme personality in Goloka, but also his creation. Because Pariyushanubhava, this is also Krishna's. The matter is also Krishna's. And when we are able to see Krishna in that, then we start to become freed from it. And so we're going to focus on text number 41 very quickly, because I have actually another assignment I was given to speak on another thing before the end of class, and I tend to go over time, right? Shruti's not here, but I got Adi now, so it's we'll very quickly review this verse number 41. And I'll just read the Sanskrit. Vidya danam tapas satyam dharmasyeti padani cha ashramascha yata shankam ashrajatsaha vrittibi. And in case we forgot it when we first read it, education, charity, penance, and truth are said to be the four legs of religion. And to learn this, there are four orders of life with different classifications of castes according to vocation. Brahma created all these in a systematic way. So in Prabhupada's purport, the nucleus of the four orders, social orders, brahmacharya, student life, grihastha, household life, vanapras, retired life, sannyas, or renounced life for preaching, are the four legs of religion. So those are the four. So how does that? So in brahmacharya, what is the focus of brahmacharya or student life? We're all students, education. Even in Gainesville and Alachua County, when you're young, you go to school. You go for education. Then the second, the grihastha ashram, is to learn activities of the proper systems within life. That's called dharma, but within that there's charity. So charity is an activity, one of those activities, those legs of religion that the grihastha, because the grihastha or the householder are the only sections of society that are accumulating wealth. All the others are dispersing it. So it is the duty of a grihastha to give in charity. And again, we can go into much detail about this. There's in the Bhagavad Gita toward the end, there's a lot of information on charity in the different modes. But penance then, once children are grown and businesses are complete, then the grihasthas, they go into what is called vanapras, and we heard there were four different varieties of a vanapras, of acceptance, penance, accepting of penance. So we start to relieve ourselves. So And we see this. We see it becomes naturally. Once the children, what do they call it? The empty nesters. They naturally start to like, okay, getting ready for retirement. I'm need to relinquish these debts. I need to get rid of these things. Gradually starts to go. And then truth. Truth is for those in the renounced order, or at the very end of your, you could say, activities. What are those things we're going to focus on? What are those things that are absolutely essential? No more is the focus on the matter and the manipulation of matter and trying to figure out how to keep on the upswings and avoid the downswings of matter, because we're all kind of influenced by that. We're in the material world. We're absolutely, all of us have some being influenced by these things. So in the renounced order of life, there's already a practice of the penance from the previous order, and then now it is just how can we share this truth? How can we share this knowledge? And ultimately, you could say, ultimately it is to focus on that real inherent nature of the living entity of servants, of being servants of Krishna. So I'm going to stop on this topic for now and see if there's any questions on this section of the Bhagavatam. Microphone, hey.
Thank you. As you were going through different stages, I was in my head thinking, well, in a student life, there's not so much education, just sense enjoyment. In your high school life, instead of serving community, to serve ourselves. And then time to renounce, we go, okay, time to run for president.
Yeah.
So it seems like a complete reverse. And there's this really strong material. It's like a big material, really flow we're stuck in. And we're studying, it's completely the opposite. So how do we do the 180?
Yeah.
Any recommendations in that? Because it seems like flow is so strong.
The flow is strong, and again, if we're thinking about, well, Brahma created this progression for a purpose, but we see, due to the influence of the matter and the nature, that this flow is completely topsy-turvy. Students are just trying to enjoy. What can I do to get the minimum grade, get a passing grade, but still go to all the events and the parties and these things? That's a lot of students, not everybody, not all, certainly not these students in this room. And then, yeah, for grihastas, it's miser. It's almost a misership that they're all trying to accumulate and get better. And it's always been, even from the 50s, I think, keeping up with the Joneses, what's the next door neighbors, oh, they got a swimming pool, we're going to get a swimming pool. And it's just constant increase. And at the end of life, then it's like, oh, they're just like, how can I surround myself with more and more things? I mean, it's sad when you see people towards the end of their life now. What for those who've experienced people in that situation that don't have some higher understanding, they're generally sitting in front of television sets. And yeah. First, you will give them enough drugs so they don't call the nurse all the time, and we will put them in front of a television set. That is the end of life. That's the stage of truthfulness. That's the stage when we should really be investigating and diving very deeply into our true nature, because again, knowingly, this life is temporary. It's going to end, and all the signs are there at that stage of life. So it's all topsy-turvy. So how do we change it? Well, we learn about the nature and the influence, and we see the influences, and we also have these influences that are taking us away from, you could say, our best idea of ourselves. Sometimes we have our Facebook like idea of ourselves, and this is what I project to the world. But really, many people are suffering and struggling. We have so many distractions in our lives. So the idea of these sections of the Bhagavatam is to recognize, and the third canto is like, now here's a beginning, and then we'll go into even more detail when Kapila starts to talk about Sankhya Yoga and the interactions and the coverings that we obtain from the matter and the nature. All of it, again, to understand how to get free. And that is an excellent segue. So I will finish answering your question now, because I've been asked to speak on another subject, and I was having a hard time connecting the two, because again, this is heavy information. But then just last night, I was reading with my wife, and we came across a verse that was very similar to the one I just read. But there was another indication there of Srila Prabhupada that kind of helps us kind of understand what that is. So let me find that verse. And this is the Krishna is about to appear. Krishna his janma is about to happen. And the Astama Garbha, the Krishna who has entered into Devaki's womb is there, and she is becoming effulgent, and all the demigods are surrounding her. And Brahma, one of them, the same Brahma who is doing all this creation, doing all this, he says, you can actually tell which verses Brahma speaks in these prayers, because he repeats them elsewhere. There's so many verses, but I think it was so many. These prayers are just amazing. Yes, so here, you'll see if you can catch the connection to today's verse. It's 234. O Lord, during the time of maintenance, so maintenance is the creation. Creation is being maintained. You manifest several incarnations, all with transcendental bodies beyond the material modes of nature. So they're glorifying Krishna. You're about to appear, and you do this. Why do you, you're self-satisfied. Satchidananda, you're in the Goloka Vrindavan. Why do you do this? Why do you come down? You do this. When you appear in this way, you bestow all good fortune on the living entities by teaching them to perform the Vedic activities. The same Vedic activities Brahma is just creating. Brahmacharya, all the social, Chaturvana, Maya, Srishtam, Guna, Karma, Vibhagasa, according to their vocation, he's instilled something. But what happens is they sometimes diminish in importance in people's lives. You do this for the living entities by teaching them to perform Vedic activities such as ritualistic ceremonies, mystic yoga, austerities, penances, and ultimately samadhi, ecstatic absorption and thoughts of you. Thus, you are worshipped by the Vedic principles. Same principles we just heard were imparted to Brahma, and he put them out there in all these different varieties of creations, by sounds, by mantras, by different Rig Vedas and all the different Vedas and all the different sacrifices and all the different forms of life, social forms, and all that. He appeared. And so in Prabhupada's sacrifice, or Prabhupada's purport, he's saying, according to Vedic principles, there must be divisions in human society. Chaturmaya, Maya, Srishtam. There should be Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras, and everyone should learn to worship the personality of Godhead. This is real human society, and without this system, we are left with an animal society. So the intention of Brahma and the intention of the creation is that gradually, yes, we're involved in matter, and we inherently feel that it is not right. It is not a right situation. And so the inherent thing is to gradually bring you to the process and of an understanding that I am not this matter. And once we start into that process, we separate ourselves from the animals. That's probably the saying here. We separate ourselves. So these demigods, they're glorifying Krishna. Yes, Brahma has created, but look, there's trouble now. We got trouble. A guy named Kamsa, and we need you. And so he comes. You manifest several incarnations, all transcendental. They're not affected by the matter. Their inherent nature is supreme transcendence. They're beyond the modes of nature. They're no touch. But they come to reestablish this process. And so then, what do you think Prabhupada is going to say next? So they've therefore come to teach us how to act according to Vedic principles. In this Kali age, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared. He's appearing. He's appearing in his transcendental form to do what? To reestablish these things. And how is he doing it? As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached that in this age, the Vedic activities cannot be systematically performed because people are fallen. So we could say, oh, if we just follow the third canto and follow every little systematic thing, and we do the sacrifices and we do this, the inherent nature and the you could say the commotion of the culture that is embracing the inherent nature of matter is almost preventing us from living peacefully. We can hardly live peacefully because the people are so fallen. So therefore he gives this recommendation: Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalo nasteva 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 gatiranyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore teaching people all over the world how to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and this has proved very much effective in all places and all times. So how do we, the question is, well, how do we get out of this cycle of being inherently dragged down by the matter? We engage in the Sankirtan movement. We engage as taught by Lord Chaitanya. He has taught Saranagati. He has taught the 6 processes of how to get ourselves freed very systematically. And this is called an anga of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, further, the topic, have you guessed the topic yet? The topic is probably chanting Hare Krishna. And we are in such a wonderful moment in time because it's said not affected by time, but we are in a certain time that will help affect our chanting. So this time is this wonderful month of Kartik. And last year, some of you were here. Last year I gave a whole class on Kartik, and we had a nice slideshow, and we kind of talked about the benefits and how do we understand and appreciate this form of Krishna that we're meditating on. But one of the things I wanted to bring up is that there are certain activities in Kartik that are considered the most or the best activities. And we just so happen that all of these activities Srila Prabhupada had given us as things to do almost every day. So without going into, because I could speak 2 hours on Kartik, without going into that, Prabhupada gave a very simple understanding of Kartik. Kartik is like the store we normally go to. And stores that we normally go to still have sales, even though we are going there. And the sales are not for us. They're to bring more people to regularly go to that store. But the regulars also benefit from that sale. So Kartik is the sale. We are already doing these things, but within Kartik, they become, in the same analogy, they become more worthwhile, you could say. But really, the potency of them increases. And what are those for? Hari Jaganam Brata Sharanam Tosi Sevanam Udyapadippadanam Bratya Itani Kartike. The parts of the Kartik vow are keeping an all-night vigil for the sake of the Lord Hari, meaning we chant Hare Krishna for an entire day. We'll get back to that one. Bathing early in the morning. How many here have bathed early this morning? Very good. Serving Tulsi Maharani. We serve Tulsi Maharani. We serve her every day. And offering lamps to Krishna. And taking some vow that we do every day. So Prabhupada has given our vow is to chant the Dharmadarastakam every day. So these things we're doing it, but they become magnified and exemplified in ourselves as a true. So it becomes very easy. So every year and during the month of Kartik, I can't remember when we started these, maybe 2012, but I've been helping to conduct the 12-hour kirtan that we have here in Hare Krishna, in Krishna House. And I've always had a number of different purposes I wanted to achieve by helping this program happen. One is to certainly do it in the month of Kartik, where we can take advantage. We can actually put a full day. And so to do that, we need to prepare ourselves, because do we have a full day to give? Well, we may not. If I say tomorrow we're going to do this, you may not have it. But now you have a lead. We call them a lead to events. So the kirtan is on November 1st. And it is also another wonderful day within the month of Kartik called Bhishma Panchaka, or the last Ekadasi, the Shukla Ekadasi of Kartik. And even then, everything you do is magnified. So imagine everything being magnified in Kartik, and on the Bhishma Panchaka, that it is more magnified. And then if we do one of these 5 things, it even more magnified. So the magnification, to think, well, I think Amazon is doing it right now, right? They advertise for weeks. Oh, we're going to have an Amazon day. It'll be everything will be cheaper, right? And everybody's rating. So now this is it. We just told you the day of the sale, November 1st. Get yourself prepared. How can I free up all my other activities so I don't have to do anything else that day except focus on the holy name of Krishna? Wouldn't that be nice? It would be nice. So try to start thinking of that. And our ashram leaders, the program is actually being managed and coordinated by our Nartana Priya, our Kunti Devi, and Bhakta Chris. So they are really working very hard, and they're engaging others. Hopefully more of you will become engaged in helping. We're really trying to focus, how can we make it so that everybody can take part in this 12-hour kirtan. My other thing, and I'm running out of time because I also wanted Kunti and Nartana to say something, but another thing I really wanted to focus on in these 12-hour kirtans, because there are 6-hour kirtans, 12-hour kirtans everywhere, and generally they bring the tagliners, they bring the big kirtaniyas with big beards and long sikas, and they come and they really they're kirtaniyas. They're amazing kirtaniyas. But if we're to do the same thing here, then I feel it's a loss of opportunity, because Krishna House, its purpose is to train all of you to also feel accomplished and to feel secure and to feel your identity in the Krishna consciousness movement, not as a participant, but we want you, every one of you, to be a person in the kirtan. So our focus is, we have some concentric circles. Everyone who is a resident of Krishna House, we want you to lead a kirtan. And so some of you who never lead and never will maybe a little afraid that, oh, I don't lead kirtans. That's okay. We have a solution. Find another person who is leading and ask them to be your partner, so that we have such a nice setup. We have so many devotees helping make this program happen, and you'll have speakers and you'll have instruments and you'll have microphones for as many people, many friends as you want to bring to sit with you, to offer you that encouragement, that courage to be able to and I kind of trying for myself, I like to stray away from this word, the leader of a kirtan. But really, we're the servants of the kirtan. So how can you, if you're given a slot, how can I serve the holy name of Krishna in such a way that people will be inspired, that people will, that Krishna will be pleased by this activity? So I am getting very close. I had so much more to say, but I wanted to hear from Nartana and Kunti. I want to hear specifically what you get out of these kirtans, because you've been coming to these kirtans often, and since you're helping organize it, you certainly have some inspiration to do so. So please say something about the kirtans.
Hare Krishna, thank you for class. And I resonate with what you were saying about like that equal opportunity available with 12-hour kirtan. That's what really inspired me to come around Christian House more. I remember my first 12-hour kirtan was like 3 years ago, and I didn't even live here. But I guess you guys saw me coming around a lot, and I did end up getting a morning slot, and it was very inspiring because for the last 13 years or so, I've been in Alachua, but I feel like it wasn't as accessible. Like the kirtan wasn't that accessible for me to just like jump in and join in, because like you're saying, there's already this like established like kirtan group, and so I never really felt necessarily like too encouraged or like inspired to kind of like try to fit in with them. So that's why coming to Krishna House was such a just such a beautiful thing for me, because I actually felt included in kirtan, and I was able to explore kirtan more and practice instruments. But the start of it was that 12-hour kirtan, just getting that opportunity to lead, and then I think Shamala backed me up, and Manjari and Nitai was playing with them with me. So I just felt, wow, this is really nice to feel supported and do the kirtan. That is a very nice opportunity to just connect with each other, connect with the holy name, and just offer whatever is in our hearts in a comfortable environment that you kind of create for us.
Thank you. Kunti.
Honestly, the 12-hour kirtans from Krishna House are my favorite kirtans, like 12-hour kirtans ever, or long-lasting kirtans, because it's so personal, and I've never experienced that anywhere in the world. I've been to a lot of temple communities, but these ones is so real, it's so personal, and also like, we all live together and we spend all of our days, all days together, and we're really like family members and have affection for each other. And when we're in that kirtan and we get to hear each and every one of us like lead and do this together, like as a family, it feels better than any kirtan I've ever been to be honest. And so to participate in it, just singing or just for being there also contributes to that feeling of being together and this family mood of doing kirtan. I encourage everyone to participate.
Thank you. Yeah, and we'll we'll be reminding you, and our ashram leaders and our organizers will be kind of reaching out more and more, getting you on the list. And again, don't feel, we have time now. Find somebody, say, hey, I've never led a kirtan. Can you come with me? And who would say no? First of all, so nobody would say no. So everyone is welcome. Everybody, we want you to hear from you, and we hope to make it a very wonderful event for the pleasure of Shishi Gornitai, Srila Prabhupada, and all the assembled devotees. So thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.